Hi everyone, it's Joel and Andy on the Stay Hungry podcast, and today we're going to be talking about being willing to fail. Andy, how you doing?
Very good. I don't want to fail though.
Seems ages since I've spoken to you on here.
When's the last time you podded? You're too busy podding with all your celebrity guests from
Yeah,
America
I'm
now.
kind of a big deal now. America,
I've heard you say that.
Glasgow.
New York, Paris, Peckham.
Yeah, mostly Peckham.
I see that Kelsey Moreira, one of our guests, everywhere on LinkedIn. Now she's doing amazing stuff with dope, isn't she?
Yeah, and with addiction recovery and all sorts. Yeah, it's crazy. Massive in America. Massive. Shit. Yeah, literally one of the top 50 business people in America. So
we're at 51. So annoying.
In Shrewsbury.
And our philanthropy. He said, I was doing a bit. Did I tell you? I was on my bike the other day. Obviously, I'm doing the virtual Route 66 to raise money for the Harry Johnson Trust. Cycle past these two ladies running and just said, good morning, being polite, Andy 2.0. And they said, all morning.
Go back. Fuck yourself, Andy.
Yeah. It's only when I went past her, oh shit, that's Sally Johnson. So
I did see you message her publicly to make up for your...
It's the last trading thing before the London Marathon.
So, for listeners, Sally Johnson... mother of Harry Johnson. The Harry Johnson Trust is a charity for
helping support children with cancer and their families.
Yeah, and our chosen charity.
Yeah, so I've only got, I think, 350 kilometres left.
Yeah, I have to sponsor you now. And anyone listening, keep an eye out for Andy's social media.
Yeah, I'm going to start batching people now, because I think a lot of people at the beginning of the year were like, oh, he's never going to do that. And it's like, what?
Is someone hoovering?
I can hear that. What was that?
Someone's left the tap on.
I have no idea what that sound is.
Yeah, that's what it is, honestly.
Tap where?
In there.
Oh, right, okay.
Makes for a great podcast, us talking about the tap that people can't see.
Well, that's all right. When our neighbours move out, we can have their office as well. That'll solve a lot of problems.
Yeah, well, that's got to be on the vision.
Excellent. So, willing to fail then? What's it all about?
So, I guess... it's kind of analysis leads to paralysis, but you and I read a lot of business books, and we read a lot of motivation books and that kind of thing. And essentially, the person that wasn't willing to fail didn't do anything. That's the logic. So, is it Michael Jordan or Wayne Gretzky? You miss all of the shots that you don't take.
Wayne Gretzky, yeah.
Yeah.
Played for the Telford Tigers, I hear.
Yeah. And Michael Jordan, I think, said something about people don't see all the shots I miss or whatever because they only see the shots I make. And, there's other sporting examples. Cristiano Ronaldo, after training every day, would go and shoot, and he wouldn't go and get changed until he got 10 free kicks in a row or 100 free kicks in a row.
Like Beckham.
Yeah, like Beckham, exactly. And from a business perspective, that means that if you really are as ambitious as you say you are, if you really are staying hungry, as we would put it, you've got to be willing to fail. I don't mind saying probably 9 out of 10 of my ideas don't come off as I expect them to. I wouldn't say they're full failures, but very rarely do you hit the sweet spot of something that absolutely nails it, and you've just got to be willing to be persistent.
Yeah, I think I've got 2 daughters, as you know. One of them, if she comes last in something, the chances of her doing that sport again are very slim. Whereas my other daughter, she generally comes last in these races that she's doing. Not put off at all because she's beating her previous times.
So my favourite story of recent times that anyone's told me is from you, and it's about your daughter. And she entered a race, I think this is true, and she came 5th. But because it was a county race, in her mind, she's now the 5th fastest in the county.
Yeah.
But 5th was last.
Yeah.
But what a brilliant way to be.
Well, a guy we know, very high up in the media industry, I worked with him at ITV back when we were newbies, and on his CV, he put something like he got 3rd in the Portsmouth Film Festival competition or something. There are only 3 entries.
Yeah,
but it's like brilliant, and that's now some people listening are probably, oh, that's lying, that's just spin. It's like, well, no, it's just being a bit smart. It's not lying. You got to be ethical about it. But it's like how you frame stuff is important, and not just in the words you use, whether you're writing your CV, writing a social media post, but in how you act and how you think and how you how you behave, because you've always got to be thinking with your business hat on. I think it's very, people talk about, you need to switch off and work-life balance and stuff. I want it to get to the point where work-life balance is like that's bollocks. It's not 9 to 5 and then I just switch off because I've got my balance in order. It's the fact that I'll work when I want. If I want to work till 10 o'clock on a Thursday night but then take my kids to the cinema on Monday, I'll do that because I love what I do.
Yeah. And so I've got a friend I've talked to you about. I won't name him, but I'll talk to you about before.
I know exactly who you're talking about. You haven't even said anything there.
And,
do you work in the public sector?
He does work in the public sector. Not there's any problem with that, Andy.
No, of course, my brother works in the public sector.
Good
He's
save.
a teacher.
So does mine. He's a fireman. So there we go.
Works half a day, half a year.
Well, mine goes into burning buildings, so I'm not sure why.
Yeah, fire off, so yeah, a lot different.
Anyway.
I could never do that job. They're probably heightist.
Well, you'd be good at getting in small spaces.
Well, that's why I was like a tunnel rat. That was my thinking. So watching,
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say about quick aside now. Watching Vigil. I know you finished it. I'm 4 episodes in now.
Bloody hell.
So I thought, I've got to be honest. I can't think of a worse job. But I thought
being a submariner, you mean?
Yeah. Wonder what it takes to be a submariner. So I went onto the old Navy website and it says, right, okay, what role do you fancy?
Is there a maximum height?
I thought weapons or whatever, and I thought I'm going to give you my genuine age. Came back, yes, ageist, too old. So I think I'm going to write a letter to my MP.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of anything worse than
Ageism.
being stuck underwater for 6 months.
No windows. Just the smell.
Yeah, sod that.
In the Vigil, wasn't it like 150 men and 3 women?
You can't hide a fart down there.
No, that's just.
I've never said that on the podcast before.
Yeah.
So my friend, he said to me the other day, and everyone can relate to feeling like this at some point, but it doesn't mean it's right. He said, I like to be pessimistic because then I'm never disappointed.
Bloody hell, Homer Simpson said something very similar.
And I
aim low, then you'll never be disappointed, or something like that.
and I said to him, so you always think the worst because then whatever the outcome is better than what you thought. But it isn't, because business books, bloody stoic theologists, everyone will tell you that essentially what you think becomes true, self-fulfilling prophecies, that unless you can visualise what you're going to do. So if you start to think the worst, inevitably bad shit will happen.
So how has he risen through the ranks then, being so pessimistic? It's just luck or lack of competition?
Yeah, I think lack of competition. He's a very intelligent guy, and I think a curse of intelligence sometimes can be you overthink things.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
And so I guess if you're constantly riddled with a certain level of anxiety, you're always worried. You're probably not truly pessimistic. You're probably thinking about all the outcomes, and of course, if you're trying to do something difficult, 9 out of 10 of the outcomes aren't going to be the one you want.
I think that's something I found hard in business when we started up years and years ago. Like we said about overthinking stuff. If there was a strategy or system that worked for all these business owners, I struggled to follow it because I'd always like try and, maybe if I tweaked that bit, or maybe if I did this instead of that. And of course it wouldn't really work. And it did take me a while to accept that, right, okay, if a system is tried and tested, go with it or don't. Make your decision one way or the other. And it's the same with our marketing that sells system. It's tried and tested. Do these things and your business will be in a better place. Don't fuck around with it. Do it, and don't overthink it. We've done the thinking and the overthinking.
We failed for you already.
Yeah, we've made those mistakes. We don't want you to make these mistakes, which is why we've written the book, which is why we've devised a system. You can either implement the system, and we'll teach you to do it, or we'll implement it for you. But otherwise, don't fuck around with it.
Yeah,
and that's hard for some people to grasp because they always want to fiddle.
And I guess. And my friend that we're talking about, and multiple other people I know, and myself, for probably 3/4 of my life, think they know better. So you spend your energy trying to disprove something somebody's already proven, rather than spending your energy executing on what someone's already done for you, and then making the most of the results.
And some part in our system, in any system, it might look like it's failing at some point, because I think, and I know we're doing another podcast at some point about people expecting things instantaneously in the age of technology. People want to press a button and get it there and then. They're not prepared to wait. So when the results don't happen straight away, they view it as a failure and they give up. And it's like that old story in was it Think and Grow Rich, about the guy who was in the gold rush, digging and digging and digging, then gave up, and someone bought the land off him for like a few dollars
And dug for a day.
and was he was 6 inches away from like the richest gold seam ever or something, but he gave up too early. And I think that thing about failure, yeah, people like again, my daughter, who has come last in probably 4 or 5 races in a row now, she ain't giving up. She's bettering her time and she's carrying on. Whereas again, there are some people like, yeah, bugger that,
Yeah.
and they're on the brink of success.
So, something else friend said to me the other day, and I might have told you this, but it's certainly interesting for the podcast, is he said, so, you're doing all right at the moment, Joel. How much of your success is down to work and how much of it is down to luck? And he said it in front of somebody else, and I did very well not to hit him.
Did you quote, was it Eleanor Roosevelt or whoever it was, about the harder I work, the luckier I get? And
Yeah.
luck. Wow.
And of course, there is an element of fortune to anything, that, someone could do exactly what I've done and have a different outcome. I'm well aware of that. And I'm by no means the most successful or most lucky person either. But I turned around and said to him, I was willing to put myself in situations that other people weren't. I was willing to go through pain that other people weren't. I was willing to fail more times than other people. Well, what do you mean? I don't see you failing. Well, it's not what you don't talk about your failures in the pub, do you? I mean, there's a select few people I talk to.
I mean, some
my
people,
failures.
it's almost a trend, isn't it, to share your humanity, of course, and admit your failures and stuff. But some people, they just go overboard and just all they do is talk about their failures. And it's like, not saying that, but we are human. We make mistakes, and by nature, not many of us want to bang on about them. Me and you, we're not looking for people's sympathy, whereas some people are, and some people are using it to cheat the algorithms, aren't they? That's why they post famous often. But
with like a hook of like, my parents used to beat me, ... or what, I mean, that's a horrific example.
Well, someone used an instance like that recently on LinkedIn.
It got buried by someone else.
Yeah, because they suffered. It was about domestic abuse, wasn't it?
Amazing, that reply. Did you? Because
there were quite a few replies.
Someone who both of us don't always necessarily see eye to eye with on LinkedIn, but she's very, very successful on LinkedIn. Put a very good reply on that about, I'm sad to see that you're using domestic abuse as clickbait. Some people have really, really suffered at the hands of domestic violence, and I actually messaged her and said that was a great reply.
Absolutely. I know, just again, cheating the algorithms, just shortcuts and hacks. And I know that's a word you hate. There are ways of working smarter, but I don't think there are any shortcuts to success. Just like luck. I mean, people say about you being lucky. People talk about, I guess, some of the situations I've been, fortunate to find myself. I was going to say lucky then. Like when I was in London, some of the people I've met. I thought, you're so lucky to have gone to premieres, or so lucky to have met, bloody Nicole Kidman or whatever. Unfortunately, I was really pissed and can't remember much of that.
In her heyday as well.
And I'm sure she can't remember it either.
She does like short blokes.
And it's like, you might think that's luck, but one, I put myself in that situation, but you didn't see the hours I was putting in to work to hold my job in London, because you can't earn a pittance in London. And so there's nothing lucky about it. It's hard working smartly. Again, yes, it's not just about working 20 hours a day, but there almost seems to be an anti-hard work movement at the moment. Oh, you mustn't hustle. No, again, you mustn't hustle. You can't hustle forever. You can't scale your business by hustling.
But you still need to.
Yeah, you've got to be the hardest worker in the room. And there's nothing to be ashamed about.
Yeah, and like, I could fall victim to that sometimes, in the sense that I know I'm like a relatively smart guy, so sometimes you can get a bit lazy with that. So you're like, well, I can do what I need to do today in an hour, so I'll do that, and then I'll go out on my bike, or I'll go to the gym or whatever. But imagine what I could do in 8 hours, or 10 hours, or 12 hours, or 14 hours. And you have to remind yourself in business that just because you can, say you're the best carpenter and joiner in the world, so you could build a window in 20 minutes and charge £1,000 for it. Well, that doesn't mean you should only do one a day, unless that's what you want to do. But why not push that? Or why don't you build a timber-clad building? Or why don't you, it's that whole being willing to stay hungry, to push beyond what is your comfort zone. And that's what I was trying to get over to my friend and it was quite sad for a close friend to say it to me. It's like, well, you've seen me on the brink of total failure. You've seen me on the brink of total collapse. You see
the shitty cars we both used to drive.
Yeah.
When we were hustling, starting up the business, you got what's the phrase? Pay the, what was it? Fucking do your bits.
Pay your dues.
Pay your dues. Yeah. It's like, bloody hell, you didn't see the fucking Fiat Punto, whatever it is. I was driving about when I started up in business.
First networking meeting I went to, which you were at, funnily enough, but like 30 miles from my house. And my main concern, I wasn't nervous about the network meeting. My main concern was that my car might not make it. But I've got plenty of friends who just wouldn't be willing to take that risk. Not be in a room with 30 people. Literally, in their head, they'd be like, well, the car might not make it, so I'm not going. Or, I've got to get up at 5:30, so I'm not going.
Oh, God, yeah, I know networking groups that didn't start till 8 in the morning, which for a networking breakfast is pretty late. That, oh, God, no, 8 in the morning, I'm not doing that. It's like, wow, yeah, I'd say the 80-20 rule applies, that 80% of people, they're just not hungry enough. They're not hungry enough you can't be hungry for failure, but they're not willing to put up with failure.
Yeah.
They get dissuaded. And sometimes it's even friends and family who mean well by saying, listen, you failed at that. Why don't you just stop? Move on to something else. Or actually, why don't you just go back into the world of employment? Go and get a job somewhere. It'll be safer there. Get a steady paycheck. And I think there are probably loads of business owners out there who had so much potential, but well-meaning people have stopped them from fulfilling that potential.
And rather than embrace and learning from failure, they're being hammered by failure. So every time I failed, even if it didn't feel like it at the time, you come out the other side of it a stronger person. Not necessarily mentally stronger or tougher, but you might be more resilient to that particular situation, or you've taught yourself what not to do, or whatever it might be. And some people don't learn from their failures. We all have relatives that make the same mistakes over and over again. We all have friends that make the same mistakes over and over again. Where I think a good example of a hungry entrepreneur is they're willing to make mistakes, but they don't make the same mistake twice.
Yeah, absolutely. We had this, didn't we, the other day, talking to a business owner, and they're saying about there's a company that kept wanting quotes off him, and every time they just went to ground, they got the quote off him, he never heard of them again. So how many times happened? Oh, well, they've asked for a quote now, and it's like, I think time number 4 or 5. Okay, what have you done after the previous times? And he'd done exactly the same every time. It's like, well, bloody hell.
Who's the fool?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And it's like, learn from that. Okay, so this guy's gone to ground. What can I do to chase him up, or what can I do the next time he asks for a quote? And you hone it down. Then quote number 4, he's got his process refined, and it'll get it over the line. And some people, they never get to quote number 4. By quote number 2 or 3, they'd be like, no, fuck off.
So
you're a time waster.
Like our system, if somebody asks us for a proposal, we will do it as long as they agree to a follow-up call, because we won't ever let ourselves be in a situation where people go to ground on us anymore.
It's still hard now, but yeah, and it is a first world problem, but when you've invested so much time and energy, and it's difficult. And that's why I always had respect for you. I tell you about the garden designer, did our garden, but he's like, right, I'll do the design for it, and this is what I charge to do that design. Now, if you go ahead with the quote, I'll knock that design charge off the quote.
Yeah.
I said, okay, why'd you do that? He said, because I'm sick of people taking my quote to like Gary the gardener down the road and saying, right, how much would you charge to design and, to sculpt this garden for me? And it's like, well, bloody hell, fair enough. So I'm sure there are certain businesses where you can charge for a proposal, because if your proposals entail giving away quite a few of your secrets that are the result of all your hard work and years of experience, yeah, charge for it.
Yeah, I used to get that, obviously my background's graphic design.
Can I pick your brains,
Used to get that all the time. Like, oh, can I see the designs first? No, you fucking can't.
Unbelievable, isn't it? And most of the time, it's not even people being malicious or underhand. They're just
Naive.
What can I? Yeah, naive. What can I get away with? This is what I'm paying. I want to exploit that as much as I can. And again, there's nothing. And I think you do get hard skin to it because you come across it so often in business now. The people who charge a fortune but want to pay the least to their own suppliers.
Yeah.
And that's a difficult one. But
So, I think we've explained that one. I've got a tip of the week.
oh, okay, hack.
Yeah, hack of the week. Yeah, I don't mind a hack actually. I think it's become a bit more commonplace now. But who
Yeah.
keeps walking in and out? Bloody
Yeah,
Evie.
it's
Let's call
Evie.
her out on the
No,
podcast.
it's our favourite. You right, TV?
Her jumper's cool today.
I'll see you tomorrow. I like turquoise.
Turquoise.
That's the colour of a jumper, isn't it?
No, that's blue.
No, it's turquoise blue.
Turquoise has green in it.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's for another podcast. I think we'll just.
Who's the graphic designer? Who's the copywriter?
Well, I think you might need a colour blindness test. It's definitely turquoise.
It's not.
Oh, okay. To be continued. What was your hack? What was your hack of the week then?
Hack of the week. So, one of my mentors talks about something. You made me. No one cares, Joel. Right.
Is this not your bloody Gill Sand story again?
No.
Mr.
So
Gill.
Harry Hill
Bob
used to have
Gill.
TV highlight of the week on his show, and one of my mentors does hack of the week on his podcast, and he goes "Da-la-la-da, hack of the week," but I can't steal that from him because that makes me look like a dick, and two, it's not that funny. So
Yeah.
sorry.
Tip of the week then. Not tit of the week. Tip of the week. Got enough of those. Tip of the week.
So tip of the week is when something goes wrong, to take your journal out or your notebook out or whatever it might be, and write down the 5 lessons you've learned from that situation every time. And if you do that consistently, 1, you'll never make those mistakes again, and 2, you'll continue to grow. So every failure you'll start to embrace, and then you'll get into a habit of understanding that failure isn't a bad thing, and you'll have more wins and more successes. And Tom, yeah, I've named him. If you're listening,
After all that secrecy.
if you're listening, that's how you make your own luck.
Wow. That could just go into a whole other thread now about my degree's in psychology, and it's all this nature versus nurture stuff.
Yeah.
So do you think there's people get to a certain point in their life where things like pessimism, everything's out of mind, whatever it might be, belief in luck, there's nothing you can do to change. It's conditioned into you by that point? Or do you think by the right reading, by enforcing the right rules in your life, what you're exposed to, the people you hang around with, that you can unlearn those behaviours?
It's hard. It's hard to say this on a podcast, especially for people that don't know me, and without sounding like an arrogant prick. But I am the living embodiment of someone who has dramatically changed later in life. And no one can convince me otherwise. It's not fate.
And that's through what?
Willing,
from hanging around with me.
Partly to do with hanging out with you, but being willing to accept and embrace massive failures on my own part. So fundamentally wrong thinking. And I know some people listening will be like, well, you can't think wrong, your thoughts are your thoughts. That's not true. You can change your thoughts. You can become more positive. Changing my habits. So how I start my day, how I end my day. Changing the way I react to things, which is probably the hardest because I'm still not perfect at that by any stretch. But just working hard to look at a situation and find the positive, even in the worst case scenario. And then, who you hang around with, what you read, what you expose yourself to, how you deal with pressure, and it all comes back to that inner voice, how you react to your inner voice, because nobody's inner voice is always nice to them. That's not true at all. Like most people's inner voice, particularly entrepreneurs, will be pretty rough on them and will always expect more from them. But it's whether you use that to drive you or whether you use it to bury you. I just...
That's a good tip.
Yeah.
A big tip.
It is a big tip. I think it would just be really sad if someone sat there saying, well, it doesn't matter because I can't change this.
Well, we know people like that, don't we? We've tried to help, and people have to help themselves as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. You put your, like the aeroplane analogy, you put your own mask on first because you can't help anyone if you're going to die. It's,
That's why we keep telling the team about, if they want to go to certain expos or conferences, we're more than happy to pay for it. But they've got to act what they learn. Because so many conferences, you learn all this great stuff and nod and make notes. But then you come back to the office and just back into the day to day.
So like, I'm not throwing any of the team under the bus here by any stretch. But you and I have been to quite a few conferences recently. And no one in our team, but bar one person, has asked if they can come to the next one.
Maybe they don't want to spend time with you.
Yeah, maybe. But
they've all asked me.
Yeah. If Joel's not going, can I come? Yeah. But again, that's going back to that, are you just lucky or not? Or it's like that seize the day. Is it Carpe Diem?
Carpe Diem, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Dead
like,
Poet Society.
Like, don't forget to grab the opportunities in front of you. So here, I know if someone tapped on our door and said, "Oh, can I come to the next Expert Empires?"
That's so good. That's another podcast. That is Carpe Diem. Something I said to Emily, and we joke about it now a long time ago, was if you don't ask, you don't get. And of course, she's remembered that. And pretty much every week she'll ask for something.
She's got a new phone and a gimbal this week.
New iPhone 13 Pro bloody Max in Platinum or whatever she's got now, and a gimbal. And yeah, if you don't ask, you don't get it. Sometimes you get told no, and there'll be some people who get told no a couple of times. I won't ask that stuff again now. There'll be other people, and I think Emily's like that. She'll carry on asking because she knows that's the right thing to do.
Yeah,
and hats off to her.
Shout out for a non-Codebreak member of the team, but if you want to learn how to be resilient, make friends with an actor, because they get told no all the time and keep going back. And once you see that, and it gives you a hell of a lot of perspective on your own career.
Yeah, was it Matt LeBlanc who, when he found out he passed the audition to Friends, first thing he went out and bought was a hot meal? Because I think he had like $13 in his bank account or something when he went to the audition.
Yeah,
and it's mad. And I think that's why I suppose actors they congregate together, and business owners. If I could go back, maybe the one thing I would have done different, I would have joined some kind of business mastermind.
Yeah,
because you quickly realise, oh shit, they're going through the same things as me. Oh my god, this super successful man or woman, they've had failures like I have. So I'm not saying it's the norm, but it's not. I'm not my own in this challenge, in this struggle, and that was eye opening to me when I've seen really successful, pretty powerful business people. It's always like unburden their soul a bit about how hard they're finding things, what a struggle something has been, about a massive failure. A deal's fallen through, they've lost £1 million, and it's like, holy shit. What am I worried about that social media post not going out?
Yeah.
And that perspective, and that would be my hack of the week, would
nice.
be, in terms of dealing with failure, look for some kind of mastermind mentorship group where you can surround yourself by people on the same kind of journey as you.
Going through the same thing, yeah. So, how do people find out about this so-called marketing that sells system?
Where do we start now? Listening to the podcast is a good start. Go to codebreak.co.uk and everything you need to know about our system is there. You can buy our book there as well, our Amazon bestseller book that explains the system step by step, your step-by-step guide to growing, protecting and scaling your business.
Awesome. That's a good plug. That's a good one. Right. Lovely to chat to you guys. We'll be back again soon. Stay hungry.